What's up, everybody? This is Timothy Rhyme. Welcome back to Grown Man Sessions, where we aim to empower and inspire one story at a time. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this interview, and I really hope you like it. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you very much. If you can, please hit the subscribe button and then the bell next to it so you're notified when we release new content and new interviews. On this episode, we will be speaking with Nick Leisure. Over the past 18 years, Nick has compiled an extensive resume filled with internationally printed photography, films, commercials, music videos, and he's been a writer, director, cinematographer, and editor on hundreds of projects for networks such as ABC, ESPN, MTV, VH1, BET, and the History Channel. He's going to share his story with us today and some lessons that he's learned along the way. So without further ado, let's get this thing going. So when I was younger, I was taught that dumb people don't learn, smart people learn from their own mistakes, but wise people learn from other people's mistakes. I feel like in my lifetime, I've probably done a little bit of all of that. As I get older, I'm trying to make more of those wise decisions. So that's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, is so that we can start learning, how other people have grown and how they progress along their journey, so that we can take away the gems and we can learn the lessons. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Nick Leisure. What's up, Nick? How you doing, bro?
Hey, man. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Can you just give the people a little bit of insight as to some of the stuff that you've been working on lately? I know we kind of briefly discussed it before we started recording, but just to give people kind of like a little idea of where you're at right now.
Yeah, I'm just really focused on feature films right now. Like I'd say the last 4 or 5 years, it's been mainly just feature films. Before that, the last 20 years, it's been commercials, music videos, all that type of stuff, and now directing feature films. So we knocked out a feature film this year, even during COVID, in Sacramento, actually, called Pacerville. And that one will be out probably at the end of the year sometime, November, December-ish, starring Brian Austin Green. Eve Morrow from The Oath is in it, Glenn Plummer, OG Bobby Johnson.
OG Bobby Johnson.
Yeah, so we got a really good cast in this one. And it's about a teacher during the pandemic that goes crazy. We always see these things about kids going nuts and coming up to schools and shooting up schools or whatever type of thing. And teachers got the same type of emotions anybody else. Right? So
for sure,
a teacher that goes crazy during the pandemic and kind of loses everything and loses his mind. So locks a bunch of kids into a school and it turns into this crazy thriller horror type of thing. So
you're gonna get a lot of teachers, man, that probably are like, man, I was thinking that.
But actually, the story came to mind when I was having a meeting with my buddy Darius, who's a principal at Grand High School. We sat down and we were talking about it, and he was telling me about a specific teacher that was, I don't know if it was, I don't want to say if it was at Grant, but it was within the school district. And this teacher was just going nuts during the pandemic. And I just thought about, man, this would be a dope movie. Let's make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
And so I think 3 weeks later we had a script and just went at it, man. So
I think that's going to be relatable, man, because everybody's coming out and everybody's going to be reliving all the memories of how they felt during the pandemic,
Yeah, man. It's crazy times.
Yeah, it is, bro. But I think that's so awesome, man, that you've gotten to the point now where you're directing feature films with celebrities, and you're at that point in your life, and congratulations to all your success. I'm just curious, man, what are some of the challenges that you faced along the way, whether it be personal, whether it be external? Just could you talk about some of those challenges that you may have faced, coming to where you're at now?
And I think anytime you decide to do anything creative, whether it be music or arts, entertainment in any kind of way, it's a challenge, you know what I mean? So it's not the norm of a 9 to 5, let me go to the state and get a job and clock in, clock out, and go to sleep at night. You know what I mean? So when you've got that entrepreneurial mindset, that's you never stop. When that 5 o'clock comes on, it never stops. You're laying in bed at night going, what am I going to do tomorrow? What I got to do? You know what I mean? So some people, I think, just have that, and some people don't. And I just think that people ask me a lot, like, how do you like make it? You just got to keep grinding, man. Just keep grinding. Like, it took me a really long time, like to really break through to where I was like making a solid living at like my craft. So for so many years you're doing stuff in the beginning to learn, and then you're doing stuff for free, or you're doing stuff for like really cheap to try to like figure out what you're doing and learn what you can, and then try to get network like crazy, and and then you want to quit like a million times while you're doing it. So
what was the thing that made you keep going and not want to quit?
I just there's been numerous times. I moved to Hollywood 3 different times. San Francisco, and I lived in Marina Del Rey. Like, I was always like, when I had an opportunity, I was trying to chase it and figure out if I could get my foot in the door and whatnot. And it just, I always had like a connection somewhere with somebody or something, but it never really turned into like something that really like benefited me as much. You know what I mean? Until I started to focus on myself. Right. Focus on like what I wanted to do with my life, the story that I wanted to tell, and start creating my own road, creating my own craft. And so when I started doing films, it was like I was trying to get on productions with other bigger directors, but everybody in the world is trying to get on productions. You know what I mean? There's so many people out there that are way more qualified than you are. So I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start shooting my own movies, whether it's no budget or low budget or whatever I can scrounge up, and getting your friends together and shoot a short film or something, And I remember shooting a short film in San Francisco, maybe almost 15 years ago. I just had this crazy idea about a dollar bill and what a dollar bill goes through, like, in its lifespan. You know what I mean? Like, Girl Scout cookies to like somebody snorting coke, stripper to whatever, you know what I mean? So to church to, So it's like I just wrote something up, and I think it took me about a year to really like pull the trigger and go, man, I just gotta shoot this thing. So, got some gear, whatever I could get, available to me, and got some actors that would do it for free. I fed them like Subway for lunch, and went out and shot, and it ended up winning a bunch of awards at film festivals and stuff.
That's dope, bro.
Those little things start to like build up, and you start to notice when you put the work into it, when you really grind, like the little things, even if it's just a local award or something in LA, Sacramento, the Bay Area, stuff like that, they start to build up, and people start to notice, and then you start to get better at your craft.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you saying, man, is basically just you got to stay consistent, just got to keep going, keep grinding, and just have that mindset that eventually what you're working on is gonna start getting out there further and further, and it's gonna start paying off for you.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I tell people all the time that I know friends of mine that are really talented. They're always either in the studio doing music, or they're writing, or they're trying to figure out their next screenplay, or and they're super talented, but they're just not doing it. Like, they're doing it for themselves, but they're not out there like pushing it and really doing it. So I see people all the time that work with me on productions. Like, on an average movie production, I'll have 50 to 75 people that work with me on a production. And I could tell you, like, they're all great, but I could tell you there's a lot of people in this business that are working that don't have a whole lot of talent. They get up every day and they grind towards what they want. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of people making it that are less talented than a lot of the people that I know that aren't making it. You know what I mean? It's just their work ethic is different. So they're getting up and they're really grinding it out, and they're just like, they're not taking no for an answer.
It's crazy that you say that, because I was talking to Danny Castillo last week. And I told him the same thing. I said, Danny, man, I feel like, I tell my kid, because we were talking about our kids. I tell my kid that, as long as they work hard, they'll be able to do whatever they want. And he was like, Tim, he's like, I agree with you. He was like, but to a certain extent. he said in his like experience, he's seen that working hard will get you to a certain length or to a certain place. He said, but you have to have the vision. He said you have to have a plan, and he said, and you have to have that drive,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense, man, because I know what you're saying. Like I could totally understand what you're saying, because I know a lot of people that are talented, but they don't do anything with it. But then again,
hard worker too. I've known Danny for a really long time, man. Way before he was a UFC fighter and all that stuff, man. Like, I seen Danny one year. It's probably 15 years ago, when I used to live out in the same neighborhood as him, and he was out there, and he was just starting to really train, and wanted to get into fighting and stuff. And it was like his birthday, and he was out running in the sun, jogging and running. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, it's your birthday today. He's like, he's still out there grinding. So Danny puts in that work.
Yeah, he does.
He didn't get it just from just sitting around. You know what I mean? He puts in the work. So.
Yeah, man. My other buddy, 60 East, he has like his own independent hip hop festival that he puts together, and he just released the lineup for this year, and it's really dope. And I interviewed him, and same thing, man. It's like a common theme of successful people is just putting in the work. But what do you think? I firmly believe, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I firmly believe that work ethic is something that you can't really be taught later in life. Like I feel like it's something that you have to learn like when you're younger. Do you think the same way, or do you think people can like develop a better work ethic as they get older?
That's hard to say, because it's really up to the individual. Because I've seen some people who were just lazy throughout their lives. I've got friends, we all got those friends that are like, man, you're talented, but you just don't get out of bed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I've seen some of them wait until they're almost 40 years old before they take it serious and really grind, and they make it. And I've seen other people that just kind of half-ass it. So I think it's a combination too. You know what I mean? You got to have that work ethic, but you also got to have some talent, and you got to know what you want and really focus on that. Whatever that goal is that you want to achieve, really focus on that and don't divert. Nowadays with social media and everything, there's so much. You can pick up your phone and be distracted for the next 2 hours real quick.
Oh yeah, easily.
So, and there's so many people, when you start doing stuff, people want to divert your attention to so many different things. I get stuff all the time. They're like, hey, let's go to this television show together, or let's do this, or it's like I have to like remind myself, like my focus needs to be like focused on only features right now. You know what I mean? It's like occasionally I'll do a music video if I'm not booked on a feature or something, but I turn out a lot of different work that I used to never turn down, where I was like, man, I'm just gonna get that check. And then when I was living down south in LA, I was doing commercials after commercials, and commercials pay more money than anything per second. I mean, and so it's easy to get caught up in like, I shot a Nike commercial this week, and I shot this, and that, and you do 3 or 4 commercials, every week, and you're making a ton of money, and it's easy to forget, like, hey, I didn't get in this to be, shooting commercials. So,
I think that's pretty dope, man, that you're able to figure out how to make that money, but you're following your passion or your dream, and I think that's really commendable, man, because I think I'm sure you've seen it as well, like seeing artists, other hip hop artists that, they just follow whatever the money does, and then, they kind of lose their identity as an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, if you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reason anyway. So
I agree.
If you focus on your passion and you're good at it, you know what I mean? You're gonna get better. And people always go, I don't know if I'm good at it. If you're good at it, man. If you're a rapper, if you're a singer, if you're a director, but if you're good at it or not, because people will tell you. You know what I mean? Whether it's all your friends or the people around you, they'll start to say, man, that's dope. That's hella dope. I need you to do this for me. I need you to do that. Man, I need you to rap on this for me. You know what I mean? Like, if nobody's saying that to you, you might want to like think about your career.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you're meant to do, and this is your craft, and this is what makes you happy in your heart. Then you got to focus on that, man. You got to figure out, you got to put everything into it. So you got to really, really, really focus on that.
Yeah, I think that part, putting everything into it is I don't think it's as like well understood, like for people that are getting into whatever they want to get into. Because like I've even seen like I've even heard stories like even Danny told me a story about a fighter that he was working with that he tried to like expressing that to, but he just didn't understand what he meant. You know, like putting like everything into it. You know, like. And then I heard another person tell me about a young basketball player that he was telling him like, dude, man, you have everything that it takes. You just have to put in a little bit of extra time. You know, like sharpen up little things. You know, and he just it just didn't make sense to him at the time. You know.
Stay humble too. That's. I mean, I know a lot of people say that, but it's like you really gotta stay humble, man. Like a lot of people will get their foot in the door, and they get shut out real quick because it's like ego goes through the roof. They get a little piece of something, and they try to ride on that for the rest of their life. And I got people I know in Sacramento that did one movie 20 years ago, and they're still known for that movie. It's like, I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to be known for the first movie I did. I'm 8 movies in right now. Like I want to be known for movie number 20. I don't, you know what I mean? Or 30 or 40, you know what I mean? So
you still going, bro.
I don't want to be that person that's like, man, yeah, I did a movie back in the day with so-and-so, and I did a movie with Mario Van Peebles, Clear Shot. That movie, with this person and that person, and Brian Austin Green, and you know what I mean? And then that's it.
That's it.
Like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, don't make a big deal out of it, man. Like, just focus on your craft and just keep pushing forward. Try to do something bigger and better each time.
It's crazy how like being humble like will even help open some doors for you too.
Yeah, man. I mean, like even on this last movie that I did with Brian, like it was kind of crazy because Brian was like at the top of my list when it came to the character. We write down as directors, we write down like our wish list of like who we think we would look great in this movie. And you think about characters, and I don't know what happened. I think Brian popped up in the media because of his ex-wife Megan Fox, but it was because there's been a lot of that stuff going around about Megan, and it popped up. And I was like, Brian would be a dope character for this movie. Like he would play this role well, I bet. And so he's a little bit older. He's well known. You know what I mean? We watched him as kids and 90210 for 10 plus years. So it was like,
yeah.
So I had him at the top of my list, and he was actually the second actor we reached out to. And I didn't expect him to say yes. He read the script, and then I got a call back from my casting agent. Was like, Brian wants to talk to you. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, he's interested. Okay. And me and Brian got on the phone for like an hour, and we just chopped it up like me and you are talking right now, and just super cool, humble dude. He was talking to me we talked about the script a little bit, and I think majority of the time he was talking about he was feeling like he was getting old because now he was enjoying like gardening and building this chicken coop in the backyard, doing all this stuff that he was doing to his house down in Malibu. So it's like, I was like, okay, man, like we were super cool, but he wanted to see what kind of person I was. I mean, he wanted to see.
He was feeling you out.
Yeah, he wanted to fill me out and see if I was just trying to do a movie just to flip it around real quick just for money or whatnot, or was I really passionate about what I wanted to do with this film. And so I started talking to him about the story and where I came from and how I grew up, and I didn't have parents like that, and I didn't, you know what I mean? And I had to grind it out to get to where I'm at. And I was just telling him, man, like, I think it'd be dope for you to do this. And he gave me the okay right there. And the rest was like, okay, let me have my attorney contact your manager and blah, 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 blah. And, a few weeks later, we were shooting a movie.
Oh, man, see? Lesson learned right there, man. Just stay humble and,
Yeah, man.
Just be real, I guess. I kind of alluded to it before that I had gone to school for accounting. And, me being like, with my background, like I never thought that I would get like a really good job, like coming out of school with that degree. Right. But I had a buddy that was in that school, and he's always telling me, man, Tim, just be yourself, man. Like you go to these interviews, just be yourself. So I go and I interview for one of the big 4 accounting firms. Right. And I go in there, and there's 4 Asian girls from UCLA. I'm like, I'm not getting this job, man. But I just went through with it, right? I went through with it, just was myself. Same exact thing that you're saying. They asked me like one accounting question, and then we started talking about baseball for like 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then, like a month later, I got the job.
Oh, that's dope, man.
So yeah, I could relate, man.
I might need a movie or something. I always need accountants.
Hey, yeah, just hit me up, bro. I got you. So let me ask you, man, what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far, like, throughout your journey? Like, what do you think is the biggest life lesson you've learned?
Man, I would say my biggest life lesson I've learned throughout my whole life is it, there's never enough time, man. Like time just goes. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, bro. So it's like, when you're 20, you think like, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next, whatever, you know what I mean? And luckily I had the mindset, and I had other people around me that were a little bit older than me that had already made it in the music business and were grinding and stuff like that. And I was watching success happen on a major scale. So it was like, it didn't, they didn't just open doors for me, but it showed me like, oh, this is possible to do this, and I need to focus on this now. So a lot of people I knew were just going to the bars, and and I still did. I went and partied and stuff, but I made sure that like my focus was still there, that I was still working on my craft, that I had this goal that I wanted to do and what I wanted to become, and I wasn't going to listen to everybody else because everybody else wanted me. My mom wanted me to work for the post office. She worked at the post office her whole life, and she was just like, go get a job at the post office and I have somebody talk to you. And I was like, I'm gonna work at the post office.
Yeah,
do what I want to do, you know what I mean? And I got to feel about how many people make it in the entertainment business and all that type of stuff. I'm like, I don't care how many people make it. Like, I know I'm gonna make it, you know what I mean? So you just gotta focus on it, man, and stick to it. Like they always say, don't have a plan B, and focus on plan A, and that's it.
Go all in, man. Like you said, you got to put everything into it.
Yeah, but the biggest thing for me is, I've lost a lot of friends, even in the last 5 years, man, that were really close to me. Like a couple of my best friends and close friends as well. And just, it's sad, but it's like, life isn't forever, man. You got to really focus on like what you want while you're here, whether it's for you, for your kids. I got 3 kids, so 2 of them are adults already now, but you're still working for your kids and your family and your legacy and stuff. So you got to really, push it out there, man. Really do it, because you're going to turn around. You're going to be 50 years old going, damn, what did I do with my life?
What happened?
It's like, what am I going to do now? You know what I mean? So
yep.
I didn't want to be that person. I never wanted to like look back on my life and go, man, I wish I would have done this. I wonder what would have happened if I would have focused on like directing or actually trying to like really get out there and direct movies. I wish, could I have made it? You know what I mean? I never wanted to be that person to say that.
You didn't want to have that regret.
I would have rather failed, you know what I mean? And been like, at least I tried. I tried everything I could, and it didn't work out, whatever, you know what I mean? So, but at least I tried. Like I said, I lived my life. So fortunately, it's been okay. So.
Yeah, I learned along the way during, I was kind of going through a transformation at the time that, I was losing friends. But one of my other, acquaintances told me, like, you're not losing friends, Tim, you're growing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just outgrow people. And I think that's a good thing. I think you're at where you're supposed to be at with the people you're supposed to be there with.
Yeah, man. And your true friends will always be there too.
Exactly.
Like you talked about Gabriel earlier, you know what I mean? Me and Gabe been homies like brothers since we were teenagers. You know what I mean? But shoot, there's times where I won't see Gabriel for a year and a half, 2 years. And all of a sudden he'd be like, hey, he always checks in with me. I always check in with him. And then it's like, hey man, we got to get together, man. We're getting older. Came through for a barbecue and stuff. But yeah, man.
That's my boy, man. Yeah. Shout out Gabe, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right on, Nick. Well, I really appreciate your time, man. Is there anywhere that the people can look you up or get a hold of you or check out your work?
Yeah, man. I'm on social media like at Nick Leisure, mainly Instagram. I don't do all the Twitters and all that type of stuff. It's enough work for me to stay up on posts on Instagram, So, but I'm on Instagram at Nick Leisure. We post a lot of stuff too about films going on. Keep an eye out for the films. Pacerville's coming out the end of the year. You can watch a clear shot on pretty much any streaming platform right now. Amazon Prime, iTunes, all that type of stuff. Google Play, everything. One and the Same was a movie I produced as well. So it's all out there right now. So definitely, tap in with me.
I got a homegirl that runs a actors podcast where they talk about, the struggles and like the opportunities and like just help each other out. It's like a support group for actors. where could they, possibly reach out to you for opportunities, or is that like an option, or?
Yeah, I mean, IG is always the best for me, man. I get actors
Okay.
hit me up on IG, send me reels or send me links to their IMDb, stuff like that, so I can check out. And I try to get back to people. I mean, you can't get back to everybody, but I definitely take the time and try to get back to people, especially if they take the time to write something to me, not somebody who's just blasting stuff like marketing, like, Leo, check this out. I'm the baddest dude in town. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I do get cats that are like, we'll sit down and I'll look at it like, damn, this dude actually probably took a good 30 minutes to write this to me. You know what I mean? So, like, I want to help people out too, if I can. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time, brother. I appreciate it. Anybody that's listening, if you've gotten anything out of this, all I ask is that you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. If you want to recommend any content in the future, feel free. But I always end this portion by saying that one person can change the world, but it's one person at a time, and that one person is you. So just get to it. Don't wait. Like Nick said, just keep grinding, man. Like it'll work out. I promise. And Nick is living proof of that.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Nick. I'll talk to you later, bro.
All right. Thank you.